Good morning everybody, welcome to round 2 of the Poolsbrook Country Park Autumn Series. We've had quite a bit of rain already. They've forecast the rain to have stopped about now, which is right, but then they've said that the rain's going to come back about 3 o'clock, but if we're catching fish we'll not care what the weather's like. It's very overcast as you can see. Plenty of geese out there. Just have a quick look at the water clarity. There's a tinge of colour in it. This place can clear up and go really clear, but that's about the same as it was last week. If you'd like to see the live match film from round 1, that is right here on this channel. It's a weight competition, so last time I ended up on just over £11, which, to be honest, at the halfway stage I would have taken that. You know, I was nowhere. I made a quick change, which thankfully paid off, and that's when I've literally caught about £8 of fish in the last 90 minutes or something like that. So armed with that little bit of extra information, I'm hoping that round 2 is going to go a little bit more to plan. We're drawing in the cafe this morning just purely because of the forecast rain, so hopefully I'm going to get a peg that's going to give me a chance, and it's going to be a simple approach, but I'll talk you through all that once I get down to the peg. Peg at 4 for me. It means I've got the assist weigh board, but you can drop your gear off behind your peg in the van, so I'm going to do that, get my gear dropped off and then put my van back on the car park. First look at the peg. I've been able to drop my gear off here, put my van back on the car park, which is great. The rain has returned, so there we go, peg 4. Lovely platforms here, fantastic, lovely and comfortable fishing. Tiny tinge of colour, it is clear, a tiny tinge of colour. No features, as you can see. A bit of that's one of the cages there, but that's in front of peg 5, that one, so that's not mine. So it's just open water, a little bit of cover. An angler, there is an angler on 3. Tiny bit of cover here, but it is very shallow here, so all I'm going to do is just really get a couple of rods out, get a bomb on, and just get a feel for how deep it is. Well, the forecast was wrong. This is not very nice, setting up in this lot. I've just spent ages looking for somewhere to fish on that short line. One thing I learned from the last match, or round 1, I was actually pegged over there, where it narrows up, going that way. I caught most of my fish at about 6 metres. However, on this peg here it's very rocky, so I've just spent ages with a bomb on, just trying to find a spot. I've just got a nice little free running rig on, as you can see there, just one rubber stopper. That's the medium size matrix stopper, not the small, it's a medium. Short shock leader, and then I've got that 010 submerged braid. I found a spot that's slightly to my right. I mean, there's more cover to my right here before the next peg there, so it just feels a bit better that side, but I found a spot and it actually works out at 7 metres. It's just in line with it's actually the corner of that cage, but it's actually I've actually lined it up with some of the kids, I don't know if it's a slide or kids swings or something on that other bank, so I'm not sure if that cage moves in any way. I think it is tethered down really tight. I don't think it moves, but so I've got that at 7 metres there, so I'm going to get the other rod out now and pick a line at about 14 metres. And I'm not sure whether to put a line out there in that open water. I really don't know if that's an approach that's going to work, I don't know, but I'm going to get the other rod out and just find a spot around 14 metres to put another line in. Keep everything zipped up so that rain doesn't get in. So this is another 11-foot rod, the other one's 11 foot, so slim. Again, well, it's the same setup basically, 11 foot with braid. Short shock leader. I'm going to try and find a spot. I think these rocks do finish. You know, there are some rocks out there. I don't know how far out that they finish, but they do finish. Possibly when we start getting around that long pole range, and that's the area I'm going to target now. I'm just going to get a bomb on and see if I can find a clear spot at around 14 metres and see what that feels like. Flick that out there, don't know what range that is. That'll give me an idea of the depth. 2.2, that was at about 12 metres maybe. Just go a little bit further. See if there's any difference in depth. Yeah, it's about the same. It's tiny a little bit out there, but 2.5 on that one. I'm just going to go over the top. What's that tree above me? See if it's any deeper. It's just about levelled out there. I think that was like a 2.7, but I'm just going to double check that because it didn't go in very well. Just reset that one. .8, it is slightly a bit deeper. Just going to go further. I have no idea what it's like here. I really haven't got a clue. I assume it will level out somewhere, but I don't really know why. I'm going to go out there if I am. I haven't seen any fish caught out there, but I have only fished that one match here. So 2.8, so that looks like it's levelled off. So what I'm going to do is just go to that clip there, put that clip on, and then just cast back to that spot. Well, that's a little bit further out now, so 2.8 on that. So I'm just going to cast this onto the clip, which is I don't know, a metre or two past, and this will just let me know if it is getting deeper past that last point. Just reset that. Yes, it's very, very similar, isn't it? 8, 10, 12, 14. So I'm just going to clip that up at 14 metres and just get that bomb back out there. 2, 4, always count back. 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. See what the bottom's like out there at that range. And that should start hitting the rocks just there. Yeah. If I'm going to fish there, I think that's where I'm happiest. So that's it, I'm all set up. Just got to get my bait out. It's 10 o'clock, we're fishing 10:30 until 3:30. I've got 3 rods set up, I've got 3 slims, all identical really, 3 running rigs on. I haven't got a method set up or anything like that. So I've got one at 7 metres, which is slightly to the right. There's a bit of a gap in the rocks where I don't know if I'm going to catch there or not. I've just spoke to one of the lads at the next peg. He drew the same peg where he is today last week and never caught anything on the pole. So whether there aren't going to be any fish short or not today or not, I don't know. The only thing I'm concerned about is the conditions. I have heard rumours that the rain can knock this place off, and quite often when you get a sudden influx like this, it can knock it. So I'm not going to go chasing any silly daft weights today. I'm just going to fish for bites. So I've got that one slim clip. It is actually clipped up today. I didn't fish that clipped up last week. So I want to fish that clipped up to my right, in front of all that cover there, at 7 metres, and then I've got the other one which is further out. I wanted it around 14 metres, but it's not very clean there, so I've gone a little bit further and I've gone to the sticks, and it's exactly 17 metres. So it's a little bit past pole range, but it is flat calm. I'm expecting it to fish hard now, I'll be honest. I think the weights here last week were about 11 pound-ish, that sort of weight. I think peg 1 had 16 or 17 pound on peg 1, but peg 1 hasn't been drawn today, or it's not in, which means that the lad on my left on peg 3, he can now cast along that long bank to the left where normally peg 1 would cast, and it's normally a very good peg, so he can cast to that water today, so that'll be interesting. And I think he might do that with a method feeder, I don't know. So I've got my line at 7, I've got 17 metres, and I've also clipped another rod up at 30 metres, just out there, straight in front in that open water. I've no idea why I would go that far out today, but it's there. If it is going to be poor at short range, then I might need to go out into open water if the fish are a bit cagey. So that's it. I'm really going to be feeding pinkies. I've got some maggots and I've got some worms. That is it, that's all I've got. The mix that I've got ground bait wise, I've got to put it through a sieve that is F1 green on its own. I used that last week, and that's it. That's it. So it's 10:30 till 3:30. I'm going to start at 7 metres, just see if we can catch anything there, but I'm going to feed the 17 metre line as well and just feel my way into it. I can't really see. I'll be able to probably hear the angler on my right possibly, and the one on my left. Other than that, I can't really see anybody, so I've just really got to try and just get my head down and fish my own match. So it's about 2 minutes to the off. I'm going to stick to what I said. We'll start on that line just to my right. I'm going to feed that 17 metre line at the start. Trying to keep everything, as you can see I've got the bait brolly up now, just trying to keep everything. I mean, these are dead baits anyway. I'll show you all these properly afterwards. I can't show you properly now, but I will show you the side tray and everything a bit later on. Hopefully it's going to clear up so I can show you that. So I've got some dead baits there, I've got some maggots there, I've got some pinkies, fluoro pinkies, I've got the ground bait covered up. I've got some worms, but I'm not going to feed them at the start. So I just want the feeder on. Like I say, I'm going to start on a short line, so there's no point in me feeding a lot on that line, so I'm going straight on it. I'll feed a little bit more confidently on that 17 metre line, because you know I'm not going to be going straight on that, but I might be on it within half an hour, I might be on it within 20 minutes, I don't know, and for that reason I'm not going to put loads and loads of bait in on it. So feed a short line first, that's the one I'm starting on, and then I'll feed the 17 metre. I'm not going to feed the 30 metre line yet, I'm going to leave that. Hopefully that doesn't come into play, but we'll find out. And that's it, a really simple approach. That's it, good luck lads. I'm just going to put two feederfuls in on this short line. I've got it clipped up today, this one, didn't do that last time. It's a bit of depth there, but I think it is clean enough to fish there, it seems like it. What I'm going to do is just put my rod in that position there. Just empty that. Put a few pinkies in there on this cast, if I can show you. Just a few fluoro pinkies. I want to be hitting my clip about there, so that when I click the bail arm over and I tighten up to the feeder when I'm fishing, I'm going to have two or three turns actually on the reel before I have to take the clip off. If I hook a decent fish, there are some decent perch to be caught on this venue, but there are lots of tench as well. And like I say, I want to give myself the best chance of landing fish like that. That's it. So that's all I'm going to do on that line. Come on, rain, stop. I'm going to be going straight on that line. I'll just get my other rod. I'm not going to feed that 30 metre line. I'll keep it really simple to start with. Just don't want to go putting 3 lines in when I don't even know if, I don't really know how good or bad it's going to be fishing. So again, just a few pinkies. I'm not going to put any worms in, just purely because last week when I did catch, the spell when I did catch last week, I wasn't feeding any. It was just pinkies. So that's what I'm going to do. Because if I don't put them in, then I can't blame them for anything, can I? I can't say it's because I fed worm or whatever. But it does give me the option of feeding it if this approach doesn't work. I'm going to put 4 feederfuls in like this. In case you're wondering why I'm doing it in 4 little feederfuls instead of 1 big one, it's because I don't want them all in the same spot. I like to space it out over a metre or so. That angler there is casting up to the right hand side of that cage. I know there are occasions, and I've heard when those cages are great features on here. That'll be interesting to see if he catches there. That's it. Right, just get that hook length on, and let's see if there's anything down this inside. Hook length loop to loop. So 25 centimetre hook length. Because there are some rocks down there, I'm going to kick off with a shorter hook length. In here I've got some live pinkies, which I've obviously been trying to keep dry. Kick off with 2 of those just for confidence. But I am feeding deads. It'd be nice to have a little run of fish on this before we have to go on that other line, but like I say, I'm not going to get a brilliant idea of what's been caught around me because I can't really see anyone. But sometimes that's good because you can fish your own match. What the bites I had last week when on this short line came really quick. There we go. Well, yeah, much quicker than that, are we? That's a nice little skimmer. Well, can't ask for a better start than that, really. Certainly good for confidence, anyway. Fresh hook bait on. Fresh hook bait was definitely better last week, even though it was difficult at times because I was playing catch up. You feel as though you kind of want to almost, you know, push your peg sort of thing. You know, you want to be quick because you're trying to catch up. But whenever I did that, there's some fish rolls there. But whenever I did that, the bites didn't come anywhere near as quick as what they did on a fresh hook bait. Good thing with this line as well is I can top this line up easily when I'm fishing on that 17 metre line. You know, I can just easily just underarm a feeder there and just empty it. So it's a good line to keep topped up. Quite a few fish topping, more fish rows there. I think that's more fish already that I've seen top, more than I saw for the whole of the match last week. Perch. Not the target. There were lots of them last week. I don't know if that was on then. That was a slower indication then. That's another little skimmer. Now another perch. Well, I'm quite happy to just keep putting fish in the net at this stage. Like I say, it'd be nice if any bonus fish come along, but I'm going to stick on this for at least the next 15 minutes, 20 minutes. Just see what happens, see if we get any bonus fish, and if not, then that's when I'll consider either having a look on that longer line or just topping it up and carrying on doing what I'm doing. Loads of fish topping. The fish are widely shallow. Feels a bit better. Perch. Not mind catching those. I mean, if they keep coming, I'm not fussed about the species at this stage. I don't care what they are, as long as you're putting some fish in the net. Well, we're just over 40 minutes in. Oh, that was a bite then. You got him? Just over 40 minutes in, and I'm still getting indications, signs on this line, but as you can see, the stamp of fish is very, very small. I have had a couple of perch about 3 ounce. I've only had that one skimmer, which was first cast, but obviously that was really small. And I'm not, unless I know really what's happening, I'm not really a fan of just aimlessly changing for the sake of it and coming off feeding fish. But I really feel like these fish are just too small. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to top this line up. I'm going to put one in, and I'm going to have a look on that 17 metre line, because I just, it's nice to be getting bites, put a few fish in the net, but I bet I've got about, only got about a pound, which, you know, it's just a steady start really, but stamp of fish just average is just too small, I'm sure it is. Not that I know this venue very well, but I just feel as though I need to be catching 1 or 2 better stamp fish, and I don't feel like I'm going to get one, or it doesn't feel like I'm going to get a decent skimmer on that line at the moment. But I'm 100% going to keep it fed and keep feeding that line. Keep feeding it. Like I said, I can keep doing that with this rod while I'm fishing this line. It's no problem. So I'm going to have a look out there. I'm leaving a 4-hole size feeder on. Now I'm sure the angler next to me on my right, I'm sure he's netted a couple of fish. They look like skimmers, and he's casting his feeder right next to the cage, right next to it. And I don't know, I have heard occasions, or I have heard that they can be great features to fish next to. I don't know if that's always the case, but that's where he's casting. He's casting right next to the cage, which I can't do because that's not in my peg, but the range that cage is at and where he's casting is virtually the same as the range that I'm fishing here. So I'm going to leave that for, yeah. Like a skimmer at the next peg. He's on the method. So yeah, there's 1 or 2 skimmers about, or certainly better stamp fish than In fact, I'm just going to change that feeder down. Just going to quickly put a feeder full in on this short line. Just going to top that up now, because with a few more pinkies. Just there. I'm just going to change that feeder down a size, because if there are any fish out on this line, I don't want to go spooking them by crashing a bigger, heavier feeder amongst them, if that makes sense. Now, I wouldn't normally like to start on this line with a shorter hook length, but I've seen that many fish topping that I'm going to leave 50cm hook length on, because there's every chance I could pick a fish up on the drop. Get that rod tipped down, get that braid sunk. I'm sure I've just heard another fish netted on my right. It definitely sounds like there's some better fish out there. The rain's back again. Well, there we go, that was an indication there. That's a better fish. It's really encouraging, brilliant. That's what I wanted. Like I say, if I can just keep putting these pinkies in, keep it really, really simple. Definitely going to need some better stamped fish. It's not as big as I thought, but it is a skimmer. There we go. It's certainly bigger than the perch I was catching. With it being first cast, that's really encouraging. There we go. He's really taken that, hasn't he? There we go. Well, it's a skimmer anyway. That's encouraging. I'll shorten that hook length up if I feel I need to. Only geese today. This is a country park. There are other lakes here as well. I think there's at least 2 other lakes here, I think. Could even be 3. So, as you can imagine, if I'm going to be fishing for skimmers on this line, we'll be trying to be a little bit patient with it. I'm not going to be leaving it in ages, but it's just want to sit on my hands a little bit and make sure that fish are on. I don't want to be hitting every indication. That's one of the reasons why I've got a free running rig for this, so that I can slack line it if I need to. That's not what I wanted on that line, is it? Only had that one bite first cast. Got that skimmer. Then I've had 2 casts without any sort of a sign. And that's the last thing I wanted to turn up on that line out there. Not going to plan at the minute. I don't want to go rushing it. I've been fishing less than an hour still, so I don't want to go making big changes just yet. Next cast. That's not ideal, is it? Another perch. Another perch. Where are the skimmers? I think I'm going to have to try it as a complete throwaway line, and I'm only really going to fish it for bream really, so it'll probably be a case of feeding it, resting it, and then going on it with a decent hook bait on. Let's get a slightly larger feeder. Can dig one out. Just need a bit of encouragement now. That 1 or 2 fish there, decent fish around, you know. I don't want to just hope that they're going to turn up. If that doesn't happen, then the match has gone again, hasn't it? At least by doing this, I'm giving it a chance. I'm just going to put 2 of them in. Fair dollop, 2 dollops of worm. A few pinkies, which we've already fed. I'm only going to give it 5 minutes, 10 minutes, something like no longer than that. Go over it and see if we can find a proper net fish. So that's it. Dampen that ground bait down a little bit so it's holding onto it nicely. I haven't seen any more fish caught. I've had him right. I'm sure he's got 3 net fish. I'm sure he has. Definitely got two. I think they were bream. I've not heard him catch for a while now. He's still casting up to that cage. Let's have a look on the short line again. So hopefully there's some fish there, just so that we can just try and keep putting something in the net. It'd be nice if there weren't them little tiny perch as well. Not that I'm trying to be too picky. I'm definitely not going to get the weight I need with those. Even if I was catching them on a pole, I wouldn't be able to catch enough of those to get the weight I need. Could do with £20 today, realistically, to keep me anywhere near the leaders. We'll just keep going. I know from the last match that if they suddenly turn up or you suddenly find them, then you know you can put £8–9 together quite quickly. That's a much slower indication. I've just pulled into one. I've just fouled up one. That was a very good fish. So I would say that those indications were liners. That wasn't a little perch, it was foul hooked. I didn't hook it until I got back about a metre and a half before I pulled into it. That definitely wasn't a little perch. That's interesting. I don't know what this lake's like with predators, you know. I don't know if there are pike in here. I'm sure there will be. I'm just saying how we're getting them tiny little indications. Ah, so there was something bigger down there. It's probably in the middle of the lake now. That's a slow bite. That's a better fish. That's a skimmer. That's what we wanted, especially on that line. What we wanted. Brilliant that, for it to come on that short line as well. It's fantastic. Well, is that what I've just pulled out of? You'd think so, wouldn't you? Yeah, you'd certainly think so. It was certainly a slow fish. One thing I'm going to do is remember that I've fed that 17-metre line with worms. So obviously I'm not going to come off this now, am I? Well, how about that? It's exactly what I wanted. Well, needed, should I say. They're on. I'm going to say that didn't look like a skimmer. Back to the perch. That was a much better bite, that one. Feels funny. Might be foul up, this. Yeah, it is. That's why it felt funny. I'm showing you that there's some down there darting about through the feed. Right, I'm going to top that line up now. I don't want to leave it any longer, so it would be easy to just spend another hour on that line. Just going to put a little feeder full in. Empty that. Let's have a look on that 17-metre line. This is first cast back on that 17-metre line. It's been out there about 3 minutes. Didn't get any sort of an indication whatsoever. And bang on 3 minutes, it's just gone round a little skimmer. Right species. Not a big fish, but it's certainly better than perch what were there. It'd be interesting to see if that's that change of bait what we've been putting in. Just had some little perch bites on the worm, but I've just switched back to pinky now. And I'll just pick that one out. There are some little fish out there that are coming to that worm. I've just heard the lad at the next peg, he's actually got 10 skimmers now. He's doing absolutely brilliant. I keep getting plagued with perch, but just hope something better this time. I'm trying not to chase it too much. There we go, that's another skimmer. Try not to chase it too much, but I think the lines that I'm on are alright. They're much better them, aren't they? Much better. I think the lines I'm on are right, I'm sure. I'm sure that with a bit of patience, if I can feed them right, I think the fish that I'm after are on those lines, or will be at some stage. Well, the sun's finally come out, but I don't know if that's coincided with the bites tailing off. I was getting little perch, little skimmers on this line. I've got the two decent skimmers, and I've got 2 or 3 smaller skimmers that I've swung in, and then just a load of little perch really. So I haven't got much weight. I was super confident on, certainly on this line, that I think it was in the right spot for some skimmers. But now the conditions have changed. It's I'm not getting any bites anyway. I've just got onto a little piece of worm now. I'm going to try and be a little bit more selective now. Probably going to switch to 3 pinkies in a minute, 3 dead pinkies, and just to be a bit more selective to see if I can find a couple of skimmers. There we go. I don't know what that one is. Could be a roach. There are some roach out there. Another little perch. Yeah, they're not exactly ideal, are they? Oh. Right, that definitely wasn't a skimmer or a little perch. Has that broke me? That's broke me. Well, didn't have much chance with that, did I? That's it. That was a very different day from the last match here last week. This is definitely going to take some working out, this venue. Last week I was over there. Fish completely different last week. I caught fish doing things differently. That video is here on this channel for you to watch if you want to watch that. But plenty of bites. I've had plenty of bites, but I've just been getting bites from the wrong fish. Now, is that a ground bait thing? Is it the pinkies that I'm feeding? Is it the worm? I don't know. It's the first time I've fished this venue for this period, so I'm still trying to work it out, trying to get to grips with it. The lad on my right's done really well. He's just caught steady all day, just casting to the back of the cage there. He's ticked over. He's had way more skimmers than me. But as you know, I've had lots of perch and things, so I think I really need to look at what I'm feeding and how I'm feeding going into the next round, next week. And I'd love to get down here in the week and just try a couple of things out, even if it's to try a different ground bait mix, a different strength. I don't know, just something to give me a bit more confidence now, because that's 2 matches where I've been behind. So I've got plenty of bites. The only thing I'm really hoping is that I'm hoping the rest of the lake hasn't fished very well. I hope it's fished hard everywhere, so that those anglers above me in the league aren't going to run away with it, you know. So, you know, there are 4 rounds left now. We've fished, this was the second one, so there are 4. So there's still plenty of time to make some weight up, to make some ground up. But it'd be nice to think that I've found a way of catching these skimmers, and that's something that I need to work on. But that's why I'm here. It's a new challenge. Well, the sun's back out now. It's absolutely red hot. Certainly in these clothes I've got on. There was a little bit of a camera malfunction there. I do apologise. So I couldn't film I tried filming the weigh-in, but I think one of the cameras has got a little bit too wet and a little bit too waterlogged today. So I do apologise. That's been a real eye-opener. You know, and I think if you're going to follow this series, this is obviously a one-off match, but it is a series, and this is the second round in the 6-match series on this venue that, you know, I'm fishing for the first time. And I think it's worth pointing out that, you know, I'm going to have to change something. I'm literally last on the board. I've weighed more than what I thought, to be fair. I've weighed £9.9, which was, as you saw, very few net fish, hell of a lot of perch. Yes, those perch are better than nothing, but there's no way I should be catching so many fish on a feeder of that stamp. Brian at the next peg, who's cast to that cage all day, he's ended up weighing £25. He's had some lovely stamp fish. I couldn't tell the size of the fish that he was catching, but they were a better stamp. And he's just cast to the back of that cage all day. Now, obviously, I couldn't do that. That's something very specialised to that peg. Just like on my left, he's cast down that left-hand bank. I think if you fish the feeder, you've got to fish for bream or those better stamp fish. So that's my mission for this week. This week, I'm going to sit down and make a decision about next week's match. I'm going to have to make a change somewhere. So I really hope you've enjoyed this insight into this match and this venue and me just trying to work it out. And if you have, please give this one a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos from this channel and follow me through the rest of this league, there are 4 left, then please hit subscribe. And I really look forward to seeing you next week when I'm definitely going to be making some changes.